So, in the previous section of Romans that we completed last Sunday, the book of Romans presented a very dark assessment of humanity, showing that everyone stands guilty before God because of our unrighteousness, and that everyone stands condemned before God because of our sin. If you look back at verse 10 of chapter 3, in verses 10 to 18, God gave his verdict against mankind. In verse 10, there is none righteous, no, not one. As God looks down at humanity from heaven, he sees none righteous, no, not one. There is none who understands. There is none who seeks after God. They have all turned aside. They have together become unprofitable. There is none who does good, no, not one. Again, God assessing humanity. Their throat is an open tomb. With their tongue they have practiced deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Every person is silenced before God. Every mouth is stopped, it goes on to say in verse 19. There's nothing anyone can say in their defense to God to justify themselves. Romans has the entire world standing before God's throne with nothing to say, silent, condemned, guilty, trembling. But then Romans says, but now in verse 31. Verse 31 marks the turning point in the book of Romans. But now, after laying out this case against mankind, but now. I said previously in our study of Romans that the book of Romans tells us the bad news about ourselves, about our condition, before giving us the good news of what God has done for us. Verse 31 marks the start of the good news. You guys made it through the bad news over the last few weeks, and now we begin the good news with these two little words, but now. And this section of Romans is truly the heart of the book of Romans. It is the heart of the message of the gospel, in particular, verses 21 to 26. In his commentary on the book of Romans, Ava McCain said if he could have only 6 verses out of the Bible and all the rest of the Bible is taken away, he would select these 6 verses. Because these 6 verses contain all of the gospel like nowhere else in the Bible. McCain in his commentary also encouraged all Christians to memorize verses 21 to 26. So maybe we can do that this week. You can work on memorizing verses 21 to 26. If you memorize verses 21 to 26, I will give you free coffee every time you come here to church until Jesus comes. So let's dig in. Look at verse 21. But now, the righteousness of God apart from the law is revealed. The last section of Romans began back in chapter 1, verse 18, by saying, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness." The wrath of God is revealed. And then Romans went on to demonstrate that we're all ungodly, we're all unrighteous, we're all under the wrath of God. But now we come to verse 21, and now the righteousness of God is revealed. And the word righteousness here, if you're taking notes, the word righteousness, it means, listen, the condition of being accepted by God. The condition of being accepted by God, or approved by God, or right in God's sight. The previous section of Romans clearly showed there's none righteous. We just read that. No one on their own is acceptable in God's sight. Isaiah 64:6 says our righteousness is like filthy rags to God. Our righteousness is filthy rags in God's sight. But now the righteousness of God is revealed. This is a righteousness that comes from God. Righteousness God provides. Acceptance and approval, not from ourselves, not won by our own merit or our own good works that we do. It's acceptance and approval that comes from God. I know it's amazing, isn't it? Look, this righteousness from God is apart from the law. It's apart from the law. It's a righteousness that is completely apart from keeping any law at all, whether that is the law of God revealed in the Holy Scriptures or the law of God that is written on every person's heart, or any other law or moral code we might try to live by. This is a righteousness apart from any law. It's a righteousness that does not come by our works. It's a righteousness that we don't earn by our merit or by what we do or by being good or being moral. It's entirely apart from our merit. It's entirely apart from our works. The New Living Translation reads this way: "But now God has shown us a way to be made right with Him without keeping the requirements of the law." And we're told here that this righteousness of God that's apart from the law is witnessed by the law and the prophets, or the Old Testament.